Perfect. 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 You ever just have that one thing that's just in the way? It's inevitable. It must be done, and you're doing every little thing you can to avoid it at all costs. You don't want to see it. You don't want to hear about it. You don't want to have to come to grips with it. You don't want to have to face it head on, and you just don't want to deal with it anymore. That is literally me with this whole Eagles quarterback situation right now. What is going on, everybody? RB here. Welcome back to Philly Take with RB. You know what to do. Go ahead and smash that like button for me. Hit that subscribe if you're new, and hit that little teeny tiny notification bell so you're always notified whenever I upload or go live. Also, if you have not yet, go ahead and check out Philly Take with RB on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Follow me, leave a rating and a review. I will leave it on one of my next few shows and help me brand this channel out to multiple platforms. Thank you so much. Today, we're back with a topic that was suggested by our Fire Take Nation, more specifically our top tier Fire Take legends who get to vote on public video topics every single month. We have a double topic here today. Number one is going to involve Jalen Hurts and Carson Wentz. What do the Eagles need to do going forward, especially with all the noise going on right now? It's very prevalent. And the other thing we'll do is talk about what I think needs to be done in 4 steps for the Eagles to get on the right track this offseason. So let's go ahead and let's start with this. So like I said, I feel like every single day this week, literally maybe the last two and a half weeks, every single day, there's been something else going on about this Eagles quarterback situation. Even in fact, yesterday there was reported sources saying that Carson Wentz is close to being traded. We're hearing the Colts, we're hearing the Bears, we're hearing all this stuff and all this noise, and it seems like it's bound to happen. But even more so, just a few minutes ago, as I was getting ready to come on here, I saw this from Bleeding Green Nation that says the Bears are even thinking about putting Nick Foles in a potential trade package for Carson Wentz. I just want to get this out of the way real quick. Let me know down below what you guys think about this. There is no way in heck we are going to bring Nick Foles back. Look, I'm appreciative of what the guy did. I'm very supportive of him. I want him to have a good rest of his career, but to bring him back for starter money, it's just not going to work. And it would be funny because Howie Roseman would be a guy to go ahead and try to do something like this. But come on, we all got to use our common sense. This is not going to happen. I feel like there's just been so much noise, and this is a perfect example of it. Nothing against Bleeding Green Nation, just in general, from beat writers to fans to everyone else in between. The only guy we haven't heard from himself is Carson Wentz, but I just thought that was pretty ludicrous. That's not going to happen. Anyway, talking about this quarterback situation, who do the Eagles rock with going forward? Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts. There has just been so much controversy. Look, in my personal opinion, I think the Eagles need to make the smartest decision moving forward. And even I don't know what it is, because I don't get paid the big bucks to write down numbers and think about these type of things on the daily. I don't know. I just talk into a microphone. Look, I could see both of these sides having pros and cons. There are advantages and disadvantages to both. At the end of the day, I think I'm leaning more towards going with Jalen Hurts, and here's why. Listen, look, I'm a huge Carson Wentz guy. I've always been a supporter of him, but at the end of the day, when I look at where this football team is at, to me, it's very obvious that we're kind of heading on the downward slope. We are not going to be competing this next year, maybe even the year after that, unless somehow, some way, this whole thing gets turned around in one offseason. But like I've said, and I said this, a couple weeks ago, a month on my video, the Eagles will not succeed until the weasel Howie Roseman is gone. It's as simple as that. This offseason has been a perfect representation. We've had the reset button in front of us. We tried to press it, but we half pressed it. We pressed it and we held it only for a second. Doug Peterson goes. It seems like Carson Wentz is getting ready to be traded. There's so many, tweets and pictures. I'm not even going to pull them all up. Just know that it seems like Carson Wentz, probably not this weekend because of the whole Super Bowl and everything else going on, but he'll probably be on the move within the next week. And I knew this was bound to happen. But overall, I think that this football team needed to press the reset button and just start over. But at the end of the day, this organization is ran by Jeffrey Lurie, who is best friends with Howie Roseman, and he's not going to get rid of him. And until that man is gone, we're not going to succeed, in my opinion. But with this quarterback situation, it seems to me like Jalen Hurts, obviously, you guys saw my draft night reaction. It's my most viewed video on the channel. Go check it out if you haven't yet. I knew it. It was a gut feeling, and other Eagles fans came together, and we just knew. Everybody knew that signing Carson Wentz to that huge extension and then going out and drafting a quarterback the next season, you're telling me that one last injury was the deciding factor, and they just didn't go about it right. It's not really fair to either guy here. Carson Wentz has never really been respected by this organization. They've never gone out and given him everything he has needed, in my opinion. And don't get me wrong, he's played terrible this past year. And with everything else that has gone on, I just feel like it is time for a change of scenery. Unfortunately, I think Carson Wentz is going to go somewhere where he's comfortable. I think he's going to go somewhere and probably succeed. I think he's going to be in a much better situation with where the team will build around him. They'll take his voice into consideration. They'll really talk to him and build that relationship that I don't think ever existed here. Carson Wentz, I think the talent is there. That doesn't go away, but his mental needs to be fixed, his mechanics, just really getting on the same page. And when it comes to Nick Sirianni and this new staff and everything, it just seems like the Eagles are trying to press the reset button and go younger and really start kind of that 2-year window rebuild. I mean, it doesn't take 10 years anymore, but it's going to take a little while for us to really build our identity. And when, Nick Sirianni and Jeffrey Lurie, when they say that in the interviews, the hiring interviews, they never talked about this. All guys are going to compete. That's a dang lie. They've obviously talked about this, and I think the decision was made, I think the decision was made to say, we're going to try to shop Carson Wentz. I mean, a couple days ago, I heard someone say, we're shopping Carson Wentz, but we also expect to bring him back. What does that mean? It makes absolutely no sense. Howie Roseman messed up with the contract, and he went out and drafted a guy in the second round. It'll never be justified in any way. And at this point, in my opinion, if you have the compensation on the table, we saw the Jared Goff trade, if the compensation is there, if anybody offers us a first round pick, I think you got to pull the trigger. I do, because I just don't see it working out for Carson Wentz here in Philly. Now, Jalen Hurts showed promise. Is he the man of the future? I don't know. And it's really sad because how this organization has messed up, that this is a debacle. Carson Wentz 3 years ago, we won the Super Bowl, and we thought this guy was going to be the face of the franchise for the next decade. And here we are 3 years later with two quarterbacks that can play but have shown ups and downs, and it's like, oh my, I can't believe we have botched it this bad. I really can't. I don't know what the exact right decision is. I'm leaning towards going with Jalen Hurts, just given the fact that I think it's time to move on and it's time to really start fresh and build that identity from the ground up. Maybe it's Jalen Hurts. I wouldn't be surprised if these phonies draft a quarterback in the first round. I would not. And there's actually Eagles fans saying we should do that. If you are an Eagles fan that says to do that, I think you should be stripped of your right to talk Philadelphia Eagles. It's unbelievable, and I could actually see it happening. It's sad. I think that Carson Wentz has to go somewhere else and start over, and I think it's going to happen within the next week. Hopefully we'll get a good amount of compensation because we need to hit on draft picks, which we are about to talk about. It's insane how we have gotten to this point in time. But then again, this is Philadelphia. Now going on to the next thing, the other thing that our members wanted us to talk about is what do I think needs to happen this offseason? Like I just mentioned, I don't think this offseason is going to be something where we're getting into contention, we're going to be a playoff team. I really don't. I think it's going to take at least 2 years, kind of how it was from, 2015 when Chip left up until 2017. Now, again, I'm thankful for 2017. Howie, Jeffrey, they all had a great year. Everything they did worked out, and I'm thankful for that. But again, they have to go. He's not. Howie has control of the 53, and we're just going to have to put up with it until it's over. We're just going to have to put up with it until maybe Howie Roseman will botch this year's pick, and then it will finally slap Jeffrey in the face that it's not going to work out. We haven't drafted a Pro Bowler in the last 6 years other than Carson Wentz. It's absolutely crazy. But in my opinion, these two are going to keep derailing this franchise. But based off of my offseason expectations, 4 things need to happen. Here's number 1, and it's already happened. The head coach decision. Obviously, we needed a new man. We needed to figure that whole thing out. Doug left. He wasn't happy. Maybe this whole Carson thing isn't directly correlated to Doug. I really don't think it is at this point. It's just such a big mess going on in this organization. But the first thing had to be the head coach. We have our guy. It seems like he was able to pick his own staff, so we'll see what happens there. Unfortunately, I do view him as kind of a yes man. I feel like he's going to kind of obey these two and really not say much. That's why I don't think we went with more of a stern guy like a McDaniels, but it is what it is. Nick Sirianni's our coach. I'm going to support him and see how it goes. So that happened. The second thing is the quarterback decision. This is the biggest thing. It's weighing down on us. I don't think you can go in to training camp with a quarterback competition. You just cannot do it. If the compensation is right, you have to trade Wentz, because if you go into a quarterback competition and Wentz loses and then you have a $30 million man sitting on the bench, you're going to get absolutely nothing for him at that point. We saw the same thing happen with Zach Ertz, and it's just sad. It's just sad. We have to move him. You have to build around one of these guys. You have to build your new identity around them, and you have to go in with the expectation of one of these guys saying, it is my job. This is my team. And unfortunately, I think it's going to have to be one or the other. It is. I just don't see how it could work with both of them. So that's going to have to happen. Very simple offseason plan here. It's not rocket science, because I just think these main core things, and obviously we will make other videos as we go, like certain draft picks. There's some guys I'm looking at that I like. It's kind of harder, similar to the NBA, to get all this film, especially, like a combine and stuff with the whole virtual thing. So we'll see how it goes. But overall, we're going to have to hit on the draft, and that's where this third point comes in. Acquire talent, and more talent. Above everything else last year, the main reality of it is that we overvalued the team. We didn't have enough talent. I think it starts with the draft. We're going to have all these draft picks. Sadly, this man right here is going to be making the draft picks, but you can't miss a top 6 pick. You cannot miss on that. I really hope he doesn't. I hope he doesn't. But you need, at least in my opinion, 1 to 2 impact players. I'm talking about guys that are going to be Pro Bowlers and change the dynamic of your franchise. Then you need about 3 to 4 guys who are going to come in and be at least solid, consistent players. I feel like we haven't hit on most of those in the last couple years, at least the last 3 to 4 years. We need those kind of guys who we can just plug in or are going to mold to our system and are just going to become good football players for the Philadelphia Eagles. And then free agency, I don't see why many people would want to come here. The coaches didn't even want to come here. So hopefully we can, get some loose ends and kind of tie things up, kind of how we did in 2016. Maybe some of those will stick around, but it'll more so build the expectation for the following year to try to get people, if we're trending in the right direction based on what happens. But we just need more talent on a football team, from wide receiver to linebacker. We're going to need offensive linemen. We're going to have to acquire talent, and for once, they're going to have to hit. I just don't know how confident I am with the people in charge. And the last thing is cut ties with the overpaid vets. Djax, Alshon, Rodney McLeod, maybe. Jalen Mills, maybe. There's even some of the offensive linemen. There's just so many guys. I can't think of them all right now, from position to position, that have to go. We have to start young. We're in cap trouble. It's just sad. We have to get that number down. We have to cut ties with these guys who Howie Roseman, who we called a cat wizard, really has not been able to fulfill the purpose of it. And these guys haven't lived up to their contracts. They have to go. We have to get these guys out of here and just start fresh and young and build that young core. In a positive aspect, I think that we have some good young guys that can build a core on offense. I really do. And I think if we build around those guys and get more talent in the draft, mainly, I think this can be a good team in a couple years, but it all depends on how we go about this situation. Even Carson Wentz, if they're going to make the move, they have to do it. Try to unload some of that salary. And we just got to get all these, these has-beens, all these guys that helped us years ago that we're thankful for. Like they said, they were trying to run it back. No, you can't do that. It's time to start fresh. You just have to know how to keep going with this business. And I think it's that time, and we all see that. So hopefully we can, like I said, sort of hit the reset button. Those are my 4 things for this offseason. Those are my main 4 things I want to see. Obviously, like I said, we'll get into more specifics, more details, what positions we need to address. But overall, just speaking generally, we need to hit the reset button. It is time to build a different mindset here and really prepare going forward for the future. I hope you guys are a little more confident than I am. I think they need to take a page out of the Sixers playbook and everything that they did this past offseason and kind of look at that going forward. You guys let me know down below all your thoughts, though. What do you think about this quarterback situation? Would you even think about bringing Nick Foles back? Who do you want going forward? Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts? Let me know why. What do you think the Eagles need to do this offseason? Give me all your thoughts down below. Appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one, man. Peace.
Perfect.